Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have got the Brazilian Grand Prix, round number 21 of the Formula One season this year, and lots to look forward to. Kevin Magnussen starting in on pole position, of course, and we've got 24 laps of racing around the Sao Paulo circuit. We could have potentially split strategies between the teams, some teams on soft tyres, some teams on hard tyres. Oh, sorry, some teams on medium tyres. I will just fix this map. For some reason, it has just crashed as soon as we went live, which is extremely strange, but I shall get that going. We got 300 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Dobar336, MCG 7199, Rick, Erin Wilson. I mean, I can't really name all of you, but everyone that has tuned in, very much do appreciate all the support. The chat box once again is not working. That is, I tried to fix it, but here we are, right? So that is, we're gonna have to sort something out about the chat. Otherwise, it's not ideal, really. So let's get lots to look forward to. 24 laps, of course, of racing around here. Most likely, we will be just getting no stops. That's what we saw last year, and it's going to be expected only 24 laps. So we're probably only going to be seeing just a no stop race from all of the drivers. Otherwise, yeah, they're going to lose way too much time going into the pits. So yeah, there we are. All right. So what have we got going? The weather has backed off a bit. It's not going to be wet. Qualifying was wet, and there were thunderstorms predicted for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The weather has backed off. We do not have any chance of rain really in today's sprint race. But one thing to consider is that the track temperature is very much in the window where the soft tires might work or the medium tires might work. It's very touch and go. So in FP2, track temperatures were around about 50 degrees. The sun was out and it was just turning the track very, very hot indeed. And that means the soft tires weren't working as well for the entire 24 lap stint. So yeah, the drivers are going to have to manage their tires in these conditions. Currently we've got 36 degree track temperature, 22 degree air temperature. So we've got a bit of cloud cover, but yeah, still tire management is going to be pretty key. Carlos Sainz, who does have a five place grid penalty, will not be taking that in this race. You only take your grid penalties in the actual race on Sunday. So say if Carlos Sainz finishes the race in 3rd place, then he's going to start 8th place for the sprint race tomorrow. That's how the penalty situation works in these sprint race weekends. And yeah, I mean, the Sao Paulo circuit is absolutely brilliant. We've got 16 minutes left to go. I will take you through a lap very shortly, but let's talk about yesterday's qualifying. So we are obviously Magnussen in 1st place. That basically outshadowed everyone else. But Lando Norris having an amazing qualifying, up in 4th position as well. Both Alpine 6th and 7th position. That's very strong indeed, especially when they're in that little constructors battle between Alpine and McLaren. Oh, the chat's working. The chat is working. Well, that's just suddenly started working. Very cool, very cool. There we are. The chat is back. So very, very, very strange. I logged out, logged back in, hoping that would fix it. And here it is. Yeah. All right. Well, so what was I saying? Yes. So the Constructors' Championship battle between Alpine and McLaren, they are currently 7 points away from each other, and we've got Alpine being the team with more points. Yeah, so Alpine is 7 points ahead of McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, and I think if Alpine finish 4th and McLaren finish 5th, then it's going to be I think a €4 million difference in prize money. So yeah, McLaren and Alpine very much going to be attacking as much as they possibly can, because €4 million is a lot of prize money, like the difference between those two positions. So yeah, they're definitely going to be going at it to try and get those points. And of course, this weekend we have a sprint race, so we're going to have extra points being awarded, because usually we only have 26 points awarded, but because of the sprint race, the maximum possible points that you can take away from the entire weekend has increased from 26 to 34 points. So that's going to help out the teams in their little constructors battles. Of course, we got Ferrari that are 40 points ahead of Mercedes. So that's going to be pretty close. I mean, pretty unlikely the Mercedes can close it up, but We know Ferrari, they're not the best team. I mean, well, their strategy isn't the best. We got Leclerc starting in 10th. And say if there is a DNF or anything, Mercedes are there to capitalize, and that could definitely, what is it? Swing the constructors championship in Mercedes' favor. We've got Alpine and McLaren battling away for 4th position. We have Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin battling for 6th and 7th. There are only 4 points in between the Alfa Romeos and Aston Martins, and Aston Martin looked to be slightly stronger this weekend, but both of them still out of the points. Even looking at the qualifying data, the Alfa Romeos were actually so slow in qualifying yesterday. We didn't really see much of it because of the wet conditions, and we were just guessing, oh, they didn't get their tyres warmed up or something. But it was either the Alfa Romeos had no pace or they just could not switch on those tyres. So, yeah. Alfa Romeo have got it all to do today, starting in 6th, 17th and 18th position. The weather is completely dry. There is a bit of clouds here and there, but no chances of rain. Kevin Magnussen starting in 1st position. I mean, I think Kevin Magnussen is going to be defending extremely hard. Obviously, I think if he lets Verstappen, Russell by, that'll probably be fair because they are going to overtake at some point because there are 2 DRS zones and overtaking isn't particularly difficult. But we know Kevin Magnussen very good at defending. Some would call him slightly unfair, but nevertheless, he's going to give it his best shot to try and stay within the points, and hopefully score some points today, and then set him up in a good position to score some points tomorrow. Yeah, I got 700 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Very much do appreciate all the support. And if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do that as well. Definitely helps out the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, we're getting extremely close to that 49k. What is that now? 109 subscribers away. So there we are. The tires will be coming through in a second. We'll just have to refresh the data and the tires will come through. But the drivers are either going to be starting on soft tires or medium tires. The hard tires are very much out of the question in this 24-lap race. But yeah. All right. Let's see, 12 minutes now away from the start of the race. Oh, and I was talking about constructors' battles. Haas and AlphaTauri also have a little bit of a constructors' battle. They're 1 point away from each other in 8th and 9th place, so they'll be trying to battle away to try and outscore the other team to secure that extra bit of prize money. Also, talking of unknown, of things that most people haven't been paying attention to, we've got Alex Albon up in 11th position. The Williams really hasn't been that fast, especially this circuit where the Williams has excelled at high-speed circuits with long straights. This circuit is very much tight and twisty, but nevertheless, Alex Albon managed to extract some very good performance and then come into 11th position. So that's great to see from the Thai driver. And then drivers starting out of position, we've got Hamilton starting in 8th, Perez in 9th, and Leclerc in 10th. So we'll see how those 3 drivers make their way through the pack. Will they follow one another, or will they get stuck? Will some drivers get stuck behind? Well, we have obviously Fernando Alonso starting ahead of Lewis Hamilton. That could be rather tasty going into turn number 1. I think it's a very short distance between turn number 1 and from the starting grid in turn number 1, so it's only around 200 meters or so, whereas in Mexico it was like 800 meters. And yeah. Also, the entire F1 grid is in a Haas sandwich. We've got Kevin Magnussen up in 1st place, and we've got Mick Schumacher in 20th position. So yeah, we've got the complete F1 grid is in a Haas sandwich. Tim Hoist Peterson, very much do appreciate the nice comments. I mean, everyone sending the nice messages in the chat, very much do appreciate all your support. All right, so we are, also, it's Rommel. Probably don't type the same chat message too many times, otherwise the bot will automatically ban you. Right, now we've got 10 minutes left till the start of the race, so I shall take you through a lap of Sao Paulo. This is, of course, the start-finish straight. All the drivers are currently on the grid, talking to their engineers, just deciding on the strategy and how they're going to manage their tyres throughout the race and defend and attack. Well, what's the correct time to defend? What's the correct time to attack? We'll have to wait and see. But they're having those conversations with their engineers now, and then going through into turn number 1, turn number 2, and turn number 3. very much these corners are called the center S, as it looks like an S when you look at it from above. And turn number 1, it's a downhill corner. It's very much banked into the corner, so it's pretty easy to hit that apex. But if you do go even slightly wide, because what happens is that yesterday it rained, of course, so that removed all of the the grip that builds up across a weekend. The rain removes all of that, so we've only got a bit of grip that's been laid down on the racing line, going into going around the entire circuit. So even if you go slightly wide slightly wide of the racing line at a certain corner or something, you're going to lose a lot of time, because the grip difference between the racing line and the part of the track that is just away from the racing line is very big because of the rain that fell yesterday. So the drivers going through turn number 1, if you do miss that apex of turn number 1, you will very likely miss the apex of turn number 2. And most drivers, I mean, Alex Albon said, if you miss the apex of turn number 1, you might as well abandon turn number 2 completely and just try and get a good exit at turn number 3. Because once you do come out of turn number 3, you have another DRS zone and a fairly long straight where we're going to see quite a lot of battles, especially at lap number 1. For some drivers trying to get into get ahead of their rivals. At turn number 4, this corner, just a very straightforward 90-degree left-hand corner. And the other thing to mention around here, all of the high-speed sort of corners on this circuit, they're all pretty much left-handers. If we ignore turn number 6 here, every other high-speed corner in this circuit is very much a left-hand corner. So that puts a pretty big load on your front right tire. And then your front left tire is very much left out in the, it's just very cold in general. So the teams that actually have to do a lot of preparation to ensure the tire temperature between the front left and the front right is consistent. Otherwise, the drivers will get some very weird steering when they do start turning into the corners, and pretty easy to lock up as well once you've got different tire temperatures. So they go through turn number 4 and then into turn number 5. Turn number 5 doesn't really exist. Turn number 6, it's up a hill over a crest, so you lose a bit of downforce, and then the car goes slightly light once you go over that corner. And then through into turn number 7, that's very much just, you need to set that corner up so you get a good braking, an entry into turn number 8, because your braking zone is quite long for turn number 8, which is a hairpin, of course. So the drivers just take it through the hairpins very slowly. Slow speed corners is actually where Mercedes are excelling. They're one of the fastest teams through the slow speed corners. So are Red Bull. Ferrari kind of in between, kind of slightly behind both of them. But yeah, going through the slow speed corners, the drivers, this is probably half the lap that they spend just through this middle sector. So yeah, the drivers managing that very nicely through turn number 8, then 9. And then turn number 10, where you see quite a lot of lockups, because you've got a tiny little bit of steering before you actually get to the braking zone. And if you have a little bit of steering lock on when you actually hit the brakes, lockups are very easy to happen. So we've seen a couple of drivers lock up into turn number 10, and then they come out through turn number 11, hugging the inside apex, because you want to minimize the distance as much as possible. And then once you reach turn number 12, that is pretty much the last actual corner of the circuit. You come out of turn number 12, get a good exit, and you are back onto the start-finish straight. We've got 2 DRS zones on this circuit, one down the start-finish straight and one down between turn 3 and 4. So if a driver does get an overtake down into turn number 1, the driver that's just been overtaken has an opportunity to re-overtake them going into turn number 4. Always produces some very good battles. I mean, we saw last year between Verstappen and Hamilton. We saw in 2019 between Vettel and Leclerc. Obviously, that didn't end very well between the 2 Ferrari drivers, but nevertheless, we've had very good battles through at least the first sector of this track. And then coming out through the final sector, we've seen drag races to the finish line, and this circuit is absolutely amazing. It's just packed full of history and absolutely wonderful to watch racing along. We are now, 6 minutes away from the start of the sprint race. 5 minutes away from the start of the sprint race. Thank you everyone that has tuned in. We've got 1,300 people watching. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. If you haven't subscribed as well, be sure to do that. We're now 100 subscribers away from 49k. Very, very lovely. C. Paul, thank you for tuning in. And obviously I can't read everyone's name out in the chat. But yeah, everyone is very much appreciated. for coming along and watching the stream. Okie dokes. Are you a fan of Ferrari considering your thumbnails? No, I just use the same car in my thumbnail, so you know that it's my stream. I used Red Bull last year, I used Ferrari this year, and I'll probably go back. Might pick the McLaren next year, I'm not sure. But yeah, I just use the same car in my thumbnail because it's just easier to know that this is my stream. Right, let's just get a quick refresh of this data. Hopefully we can get some tyre information as well. That would be pretty useful to see see what the teams are doing there. But yeah, nothing actually has come through just as yet. So yeah, that's rather interesting. Right. All right. Then, GT Omega has Ooga Booga. Well, no, not GT Omega, just GT has donated. I very much do appreciate the donation. Yeah, Ooga Booga. Guys, I think everyone should comment Ooga Booga right now. I mean, it very much just fits the vibe of the chat. Well, the vibe of the stream, sorry. But yeah, very much appreciate the donation. And yeah, you guys are all legends. Every one of you for watching the stream and helping out the channel. All right. So let's see what else is going on the. The chat has just stopped working. So was it after the donation? No, it wasn't even after the donation. The chat has randomly just stopped working again. Interesting. I will maybe try and fix it, but to be honest, I don't think I can do much right now. Yep, it's hopefully it'll fix itself later. Anyway, 3 minutes left now. The drivers will be on the formation lap very, very soon. And then after the formation lap, they will obviously do the race start. And yeah, lots to look forward to. All right. Once we get the information on the tyres, then that'll be pretty useful to know because, of course, tyres are going to be pretty... Oh, here we go. We should get the tyre information now. Or at least in a couple of minutes, maybe. Let's see. Oh, we've got the tyre information. Okay, so everyone except for Max Verstappen and Nicolas Latifi are starting on soft tyres. Verstappen and Latifi are starting on medium tyres. Everyone else has decided to go for the softs. All right. Well, with track temperature being 35 degrees, the softs are going to be... Oh, there we go. The chat's just caught up again. All right. Vedran said the chat stops working occasionally, then catches up. All right. Well, hopefully it carries on working. I don't know. I mean, there's probably an issue with my streaming software, but I can't do much about that right now because I'm live. Because it doesn't let you make many changes. So hopefully I can fix it for tomorrow's stream. But yeah. Anyway, 1 minute 50 now till we get going for some racing. Pretty interesting there. Max Verstappen starting on the medium tires. There's no advantage off the start, sorry. But yeah, rather interesting. I don't know the exact logic behind that, but we'll wait and see. Yeah. All right. Hello, got boost in for low. Torpedo in P3. Well, guys, I would say it's a bit early to say that George Russell is the torpedo. Obviously, he hasn't been called the torpedo by Vettel yet, but we'll have to wait and see. So the circuit, 4.3 kilometers, 2.7 miles, 15 corners, 2 DRS zones, an elevation change of 43 meters, and top speeds of 335 kilometers an hour going down the straights. We got the Pirelli C4 for the soft tires, C3 for the mediums, and then C2 for the hards. No mandatory pit stops in this sprint race, and it's a free choice of tyre compound. So the drivers have gone for, of course, Verstappen and Latifi on the mediums. Well, to be fair, Verstappen, the reigning world champion, and Nicolas Latifi, the GOAT of Formula One, both of them have gone for the medium tyres. So maybe that is the ideal strategy. Who knows? But starting from the bottom of the grid, we've got Yuki Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher. Both drivers have got a lot to improve. Their qualifying yesterday wasn't ideal. Same can be said for Guan Yu Zhou and Valtteri Bottas in 17th and 18th position. Not great Their car wasn't performing well, couldn't get those tyres switched on. Hopefully they can do better today. Nicholas Latifi in 16th position with Lance Stroll starting alongside him in 15th. Then we've got Vettel and Ricciardo, former teammates, starting alongside each other in 13th and 14th position. We've got Albon and Gasly in 11th and 12th. Albon having a pretty outstanding performance, I must say, in yesterday's qualifying. Then we have Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc in 9th and 10th, both of them getting caught out in qualifying in wet qualifying conditions yesterday, losing out because of track conditions. And we have Alonso and Hamilton in 7th and 8th position on the starting grid. By the way, the formation lap is underway now, so drivers just warming up those tyres. And then we got both Alpines starting alongside each other in 6th. Oh no, sorry. We got Ocon and Sainz starting alongside each other in 5th and 6th position, and Alonso and Hamilton in 7th and 8th. And then, of course, we got George Russell in 3rd, Lando Norris in 4th, and then Kevin Magnussen on pole position, and Max Verstappen starting in 2nd position. So that is the starting grid for today's race. And we have got, a couple more corners from the drivers after they warm up those tyres of theirs. Get the clutch settings into the correct modes, and we will be going racing. We've got 3,000 people tuned into the stream. If you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. Definitely helps out the channel and the stream. It just tells YouTube that you're enjoying the stream, therefore more people come along and watch. And we're getting extremely close to 49k, only 75 subscribers away. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. All right then, so let's get going. Kevin Magnussen comes out of the final corner. We'll be doing a little bit of burnouts on going down the straight, just getting that rear tyre temperature up, because of course, once you are starting in pole position, in fact, this is the first time K-Mag is starting in pole position, so he's going to have to be careful so he knows which side of the track to line up on, where to brake and everything. And then, of course, he has the entire thing where the lights are in a completely different position to where he's used to and all of that. So we'll wait and see how K-Mag does. And of course, you've got to wait. So K-Mag's going to reach the starting grid in probably about 10 or so seconds now. And we've still got Mick Schumacher coming out of the final corner. So there's a long wait period where his tyres are going to cool down. K-Mag's radio, the engineers have just come over. Good luck and have fun. Once the team radio comes through for me as well, I'll play the team radio for you guys so you can have a listen. All right, so the formation lap has been completed. Let's just move that away. K-Mag is at the start of the grid. All of the other drivers now just coming to their starting positions. Can we get some hype in the chat? I have no idea what to do right now because K-Mag has never started in pole position. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the drivers are now just lining up on the grid, and we'll be going racing shortly. All right. Let's see then. Here they go, and it is lights out and away we go. K-Mag gets a very good start. Russell right on the back of Verstappen. Verstappen squeezes Russell into the wall, and they all go through turn number 1, 2, and 3 unscathed. We've got Magnussen, then Verstappen, then Russell, Norris, Sainz, Ocon. Nobody has changed any position. We've got such a short run between turn number 1 and the starting grid. Nobody actually made an overtake on the first corner. So K-Mag leads the way, nearly 3/4 of a second ahead of Max Verstappen. I mean, those soft tyres are definitely going to be working a lot better than Verstappen's medium tyres, but we'll have to wait and see how long he can hold on to that for. All right. So going through now the middle sector, all of the drivers just single file, nobody looking to make any sort of overtakes here. It is extremely cramped. Ricciardo trying to go around the outside of Lance Stroll. He tries to swing it around the outside, and in fact, he doesn't make it stick. Oh, that was so close there from Daniel Ricciardo, but he doesn't make it stick on Lance Stroll. K-Mag comes out of the final corner, going down the start-finish straight now, doing a very nice job indeed, and we've got, So, what was I going to say? Alonso has just overtaken Esteban Ocon coming out the final corner. Oh, there we go. What's happened here? So Alonso's... Oh, and Ocon's just re-overtaken him. So this is pretty crazy. Also, the wind it's not It's kind of windy actually today, but the winds are pretty much like headwinds just into turn number one. So there's nothing really to worry about in terms of like crosswinds or like tailwinds causing drivers to spin. But now going down the straight, we've had lots of overtakes. So Sainz overtaken Norris, Hamilton and Perez both overtook Fernando Alonso. Charles Leclerc still stuck in 10th position. That is, I mean, oh well, as I say that, he overtakes Fernando Alonso, but Alonso losing 3 places in the space of what, a couple of corners. Absolutely crazy. Stroll goes up 3 places. In fact, was previously in 15th, up into 12th place for Lance Stroll. And Alex Albon started in 11th, down into 15th. So not been a great start for the Williams driver. Nevertheless, we're on lap number 1 of 24. Coming on to lap number 2 now, and Kevin Magnussen still in the lead of this race. Yeah. All right, let's see. Carlos Sainz sets the fastest lap of the race. Oh, in fact, going into turn number 1, Max Verstappen sends one down the inside of Kevin Magnussen, and Magnussen does not fight it whatsoever. No defense given there from Kevin Magnussen. He knows that Verstappen's going to overtake him. He might as well just try and get a bit of a tow. In fact, that might be the better strategy, because once drivers are in DRS trains, it's practically impossible to overtake. So if you can just stick behind Verstappen and keep that DRS, then he could be on to maybe staying up in the podium places. I mean, that would be crazy if that would happen. He's just got to nail this sector now. If he can go through the middle sector, stay with Max Verstappen, the gap now just extending over 9/10. Sorry. If he doesn't lose more than a tenth to Max Verstappen in the next couple of corners, then he will be able to stay within DRS range, because it will be getting enabled on the next lap. Yeah. Ooh. There we are. All right. Hamilton overtakes Esteban Ocon. Both Alpines, in fact, struggling quite a lot. Alonso has pitted. Looks like Alonso got damage between when Hamilton, Perez, or Leclerc overtook him. Alonso got damage, came into the pits, got a fresh set of soft tyres, and presumably a new front wing as well. But yeah, it's not looking good there for Alpine. They were in the better starting position, but McLaren have. They've been continuing better in the race. All right, 5,000 people watching. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. And we are, 32 subscribers away from hitting our subscriber target. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, then be sure to do so. All right. Verstappen leading the way. Kevin Magnussen losing 2 positions. No. Right. So he's lost the position to George Russell and Carlos Sainz. So, yeah, what is happening here? I mean, to be fair, we weren't really expecting K-Mag to stay all the way up in first position, but it would be brilliant if he did. Yeah, so K-Mag now down into 4th, but hopefully he can stay behind Lando Norris. I mean, there is a small chance. We got Lewis Hamilton behind Lando Norris, in fact, applying quite a lot of pressure. So let's follow this battle there between the two drivers, between the two Brits, in fact. Hamilton now coming out the final corner, got a very good slipstream and gets a bit of a tow as well. DRS has been activated, so he opens the DRS flap. Big speed difference between the two drivers. Hamilton gets past Lando Norris going into turn number 1. Norris, by the looks of it, hasn't been fighting it too much. Yeah, and there he goes, backs off through the second corner, and Hamilton through into position number 5. All right. So we'll see what Perez can do on Lando Norris, but Perez is 2 seconds back, actually. So yeah, the pace difference between Hamilton and Perez quite significant. Looks like the Mercedes have a fair amount of pace. Yeah, all right. Also, another thing to consider, the gap currently between Verstappen and Russell is 1 second. But as the race goes on, Russell's tyres are going to wear out significantly faster than Max Verstappen's tyres, because, of course, he's on the softer tyres, they're going to wear out quicker. So the longer we get into the race, the less chance George Russell actually has of overtaking Max Verstappen. So it's going to be pretty tough. Also, I've just got a quick replay of what happened between Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon, and it looks like it was Fernando Alonso that got squeezed behind Esteban Ocon, and then Alonso tried to re-overtake him going into turn number 1. But yeah, nevertheless, inter-team rivalry never seems to go away. Between Esteban Ocon, he had inter-team rivalry with Sergio Perez, and yeah, and then Alonso came over the radio and said, "Thanks to my old friend, we've lost a front wing." So Yeah, there we are. Hamilton overtakes K-Mag going down into turn number one. Kevin Magnussen once again not fighting it, but I think it would be a bit of a waste to fight it. It would use up too much battery, and he just lose pace overall in race over the course of the entire race. Admittedly, he may not lose the position for one or two more laps longer, but by that time, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc will all catch up. So after Hamilton's makes the overtake finally, then K-Mag will be the rest of the drivers will be very close to Kevin Magnussen to make another overtake. But yeah, Mick Schumacher, in fact, started in 20th position all the way up into 14th. That's great progress for the German. Of course, now the thing is that he is very much fighting for his seat. His seat is the only seat that has not been confirmed for next year. So yeah, wasn't the best look yesterday with his teammate getting pole position and him down in 20th place, but Mick Schumacher's gonna have to do something to prove that he is worth a Formula One seat. Of course, he's got the name Schumacher, but of course, having just the name and having speed in a Formula One car, two very different things. Pierre Gasly up into ninth, overtakes his next year's teammate Esteban Ocon to get further up into the points there, and yeah, nice overtake there from Pierre Gasly. I think it was into turn number one. Yeah, turn number one. From Pierre Gasly, not too violent or anything, not too aggressive. Sorry, that was the word I was looking for. And yeah, gets that done very nicely. Ocon will be coming back at him if he can stay close in the middle sector. Yeah. All right, Charles Leclerc has. Oh, what's this? Who's trying to overtake? Oh no, we're just getting replays of what happened at the start of the race. We had a very nice switchback from Carlos Sainz, I think, on Lando Norris, and yeah, that's how he got past Lando Norris. But yeah, that was a couple of laps ago. Also, we've hit our subscriber target. Thank you very, very much for subscribing. Everyone that has, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. We're getting so close to 50,000 subscribers. It's absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, even thinking of 1,000 people is a massive number. And then 50,000 is just what? You can't even imagine it. So yeah, thank you everyone for subscribing. Also, we have got Sergio Perez just making that overtake there on Lando Norris. So Norris slowly dropping back down. He had a very good qualifying, but I think it's very much of a similar story between Magnussen and Norris. They qualified pretty high up, maybe potentially because of the wet quality conditions, bit of unpredictability, and they capitalized off it. But yeah, as the sprint race goes on, they're going back to their positions where they would have been for the actual race. So yeah. All right. So let's see. Further down the field, we have got a bit of a DRS train behind Esteban Ocon. We've got Ocon, Stroll, Vettel, Ricciardo, all in a DRS train. So DRS train, choo-choo. But yeah, we're going to see what happens there for the 10th place spot. Lots of drivers battling out. And Esteban Ocon currently holding that spot. All right. Lap number 8 of 24, so we are 1/3 of the way through the sprint race, and yeah, it's going pretty well. All right. So Perez just overtakes Kevin Magnussen going into turn number 1. Magnussen looking like he's not fighting it, but see, this is the thing now. I think Kevin Magnussen has reached the point where his pace is kind of in equilibrium with the drivers ahead of him. Sergio Perez's pace is not the best compared to some of the other front runners. So if he can stay with Sergio Perez, maybe get the DRS range, that will definitely help him maybe recharge his battery a little bit, and hopefully stay in points positions. Also, just got to clarify, because last year the rules were the driver in first place will get 3 points, driver in second place gets 2, and the driver in third place gets 1. But they've changed the rules for this year. So the driver in first place will get 8 points, driver in second place will get 7 points, driver in third place will get 6 points, so on and so forth, all the way till 1 point in the driver in 8th place. So that's the new point scoring system for the sprint race of this year. So yeah, just wanted to point that out because we don't have that many sprint races. And yeah, George Russell has been given a track limits warning at turn number 4 for exceeding track limits, of course. And yeah, do that too many times, you do get a warning, and then it ends up getting a penalty as well. Yeah. All right, Vettel and Stroll having a little bit of an inter-team battle there. Vettel finally gets past Lance Stroll, but on the previous lap, Stroll pushed Vettel wide. And Vettel just very calm came over the radio, was like, okay, and that was the only thing he said over the radio. And and now he's got past his teammate. Of course, you would expect Vettel to be faster than Lance Stroll. I mean, in fact, it was going down into turn number 4, and it's very similar to the incident that they had at Ferrari between Vettel and Leclerc, where the driver on the right-hand side of the track, left-hand side of the screen, turns in to the driver on the right-hand side of the track. The left-hand side of the track. But nevertheless, Vettel in the opposite position to where he was in 2019, and ends up going off onto the grass to try and overtake Lance Stroll. Stroll, I mean, doing that against your teammate is a bit unnecessary, especially when your dad owns the team. There's no need to fight for position. You're going to drive anyway. But yeah, Lance Stroll, I mean, to be fair, Lance Stroll does not look in his mirrors. So maybe he just did that by accident. Who knows? Stroll, in fact, losing another position there to Daniel Ricciardo. So I guess that's just karma. And Vettel overtaking Esteban Ocon. Very nicely done into turn number 1. They were side by side. Vettel swooped around the outside this time. Usually you see the overtakes going into the inside. Ocon defended on the inside. Vettel round the outside. Then had the inside line for turn number 2 and got the deal done. So nicely done there from Seb Vettel into the points on his penultimate Formula One weekend. Very, very unfortunate. I would love to see Vettel come back into Formula One. Potentially, when Audi rejoin again, we could have Vettel and Schumacher back driving for Audi. I mean, that'd be very very unrealistic, what I'm saying, but it would be very cool if it did happen. Yeah. All right, we got 6,000 people watching, guys. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. We're getting pretty close to 500 likes, and if you haven't subscribed as well, it would be absolutely wonderful. Just getting closer and closer to 50k. We've only got 1 race left, 2 races left of the season. So yeah, it would be very much appreciated if you could go ahead and subscribe, just so we get closer to that goal. All right, back to the race at the front, and George Russell has just got past Max Verstappen, and Verstappen's re-overtook him. Oh my god, I totally missed this. Russell's just been slowly creeping up to Max Verstappen. Verstappen, of course, on the medium tyres, does not have as much pace compared to George Russell, and this battle is about to get very feisty indeed. George Russell versus Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, of course, the quicker driver, win the quicker car, but he's got the medium tyres, so that's going to put him at a disadvantage. There's a 4/10 gap between the medium tyres and the soft tyres, and I think it's around lap number 20 or like 18 when the soft tyres end up becoming slower than the medium tyres. So Max Verstappen has got to hold on for about 7 more laps or so when Russell has the faster tyres compared to him. We'll wait and see. So the battle is on. Max Verstappen coming out the final corner now. George Russell very much tucked into the slipstream. He's got the DRS going down into turn number 1. He's gaining, pulls out to the right-hand side. Verstappen defends the inside. Russell backs out of it, does not try to go around the outside. Typically a pretty risky move going around the outside. Vettel pulled it off nicely. But we think Max Verstappen probably will be slightly more aggressive. Nevertheless, Russell gets an amazing exit out of turn number 3, goes down side by side into turn number 4. Who's going to brake latest? It is Max Verstappen. He swoops around the outside once again. They're side by side, in fact, going through into turn number 6. Verstappen has the inside line. Russell backs out of it. The track is very much single file at that point on the circuit. But this is absolutely fantastic racing between the two drivers. Great sportsmanship. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Why have we got a yellow flag on the circuit? Alex Albon has crashed. We've got a yellow flag on the track. Probably going to get a safety car, but we will have to wait and see. Where is the... There we go, yellow flag. Yellow flag on the circuit. Alex Albon has crashed at turn number 2. The curb there's pretty vicious. If he's spun on the curb, then he might be able to get back around. But we've got a yellow flag, at least in the first sector. The battle between Russell and Verstappen still continues, though. Russell slightly behind now Verstappen on this occasion. The yellow flag has been cleared. It looks like Alex Albon should be fine to get running again. At least he's out of the way. He's not in like any sort of like danger zone if Verstappen and Russell get into a bit of a tussle and one of them goes off the track. So Alex Albon just stuck up there on the side of the track, and does not look to be moving whatsoever. So I'll give you an update on Alex Albon when I can. But yeah, also Lewis Hamilton very close to the DRS range of Carlos Sainz. Ocon gets overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo, so now we've got Ricciardo in 11th, Lando Norris in 8th. So McLaren outscoring Alpine by at least 1 point today. We'll wait and see what happens there. Alex Albon has disappeared off the map. He is DNF. Can we get an F in the chat for Alex Albon? Yeah, DNF. I don't know exactly why. It might have been a mechanical issue, or he might have spun. Yeah, Albon's got a problem. Okay, so yeah, Albon had an engine issue, and he is out of the race. Only 1 F, guys. Very much to like the spam is pretty unnecessary. But we're halfway through the race now. Verstappen and Russell once again closer than ever. Russell's actually closer than he was on the previous attempt of overtaking. He's got the DRS slipstream, pulls out once again to the right-hand side. He can't get the move done going into turn number 1, but this time, can he get the better acceleration out of turn number 3? Yes, he does. And now going through down the DRS zone, he pulls out to the side. Once again, side by side, Russell this time, in fact, ahead of Verstappen. Going into turn number 4, what's going to happen here? Verstappen backs out of it. He brakes early, and Russell has the lead of the race here. We've got 10 laps left to go, sorry. And George Russell is in the lead of this race with Max Verstappen trailing behind him. Yeah, pretty unexpected here. Right. Also, yeah, we've got 7,000 people watching. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. If you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do that. I've said that a couple of times now, but yeah, would very much be appreciated. Verstappen dropping away 1.3 seconds behind George Russell. I mean, what is going on here? Admittedly, we have 10 laps after the race. Russell's tyres are going to go off a lot quicker than Verstappen's tyres, but maybe the medium tyres wasn't the best strategy forward. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Also, you know how I was saying that Mercedes are 40 points ahead or 40 points behind in the constructors compared to Ferrari? Well, if they carry on at this rate, Ferrari are going to end up losing the constructors championship to Mercedes. Obviously, Russell up in first place, Hamilton in 4th. That's going to be pretty good starting spots for the race tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see. Also, Hamilton, in fact, getting extremely close to overtake Carlos Sainz into turn number 4. Side by side, in fact, and Sainz still holds the lead. Hamilton was too far back to actually get that overtake done, and decides to play it safe. In fact, though, he is very much pushing Carlos Sainz through this middle sector, nose to tail, going into turn number 6 and 7, and Hamilton slightly backs off because the dirty air would be way too much to manage. Nevertheless, though, extremely good racing that we're getting here in the sprint race. Verstappen drops 2 seconds behind George Russell. That is incredible. I don't know how he's done that. Maybe he's recharging his battery and waiting for Russell to come back to him. I mean, it all depends on the tyre wear, really. We have no idea. I'll try and see if we've got any team radio from George Russell, but I don't think we do. If we did, then we'd get some information on his tyres. But yeah, it does not look like it. Yeah, no information on George Russell's tyres, so there we are. All right. Let's see then. We got Carlos Sainz still managing to hold off Lewis Hamilton. They go through turn number 1 once again. Hamilton this time much further back than he was on the previous occasion, and Sainz doing a good job at defending. So we'll wait and see then. Sainz, in fact, catching up to Max Verstappen. We're going to have a 3-way battle for second place. This is going to be brilliant. Verstappen on the slower tyres. We got Sainz and Hamilton both on fresh set. Well, like they're both on softs. Verstappen's on mediums, and this is going to be extremely tasty to watch now. 8 laps after the race. We're 2/3 of the way through, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. All right. I shall just change the subscriber goal because I guess we've already gone past it. So, but yeah, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. And here we go, coming out of turn number 12 now. Max Verstappen gets a pretty decent exit. All of them nose to tail now. Everyone within each other's DRS zone. So Verstappen leads the way, and then we have Carlos Sainz following him through, and then Lewis Hamilton. Let's have a quick look at the top speeds that we're getting from the drivers and the teams. So we have got a top speed of 332 kilometers an hour with Lewis Hamilton. That is obviously with slipstream and DRS. But Max Verstappen's top speed is absolutely horrendous. It looks like he's got some sort of... Oh no, Verstappen hasn't used DRS all race. That's what it's been. Yeah, he's like 20 kilometers slower than Lewis Hamilton down the straight, but that's because Verstappen hasn't used DRS yet. Also, Verstappen has got track limits at turn number 4. He's got his first warning, so like his first track limits extension. So it'll be a couple more times before he actually gets a warning or a penalty. But yeah, something to watch out for, because as the going gets more tough, you got drivers racing against you. Got to put in quick lap times. Track limits is something that drivers extend very frequently. Yeah. Also, guys, remember to stay hydrated. Being hydrated is very important. I'm just going to have a quick drink here, and I'll get back to the commentary in a second. All right. So, as I go away to do commentary, Carlos Sainz overtakes Max Verstappen into turn number 1. Is Verstappen going to fight this back? Unfortunately, he can't. Sainz gets a good exit. The DRS detection point, it looks like Verstappen got the DRS detection point. So going through now into turn number 4, Verstappen gaining, Hamilton gaining as well. It looks like it's going to be 3 wide between the drivers. In fact, no, Sainz is ahead. Hamilton and Verstappen battle it through. Extremely similar to 2021. Verstappen keeps the lead on this occasion, and his main goal now is to stick with Carlos Sainz as much as he can. Otherwise, he's going to lose the DRS, and he's going to have no chance defending against Lewis Hamilton. So here they go now into turn number 9 and 10. Sainz 1.2 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. I mean, that just shows you how big of a pace advantage those soft tyres are. A couple of corners, and Sainz is already a second and a half ahead of him. And Hamilton practically pushing Verstappen through. I mean, I don't think Verstappen's actually got an issue. But yeah, this is very strange. I mean, usually Verstappen isn't this slow. Of course, he is on the medium tires, but the Red Bull weren't actually that much quicker compared, like on the quali data and the FP2 data and stuff. Red Bull were pretty similarly matched to Ferrari, and Mercedes now 1-3 for Mercedes. Hamilton overtakes Verstappen. Verstappen has nothing he can do about it. I mean, the pace difference between the two drivers is 20 kilometers an hour. Hamilton just breezes by Verstappen going down the straight. And we got Russell in the lead of this race, Carlos Sainz in second, Hamilton in third, and K-Mag is still in 7th. He's still scoring points. Lando Norris is very much putting quite a bit of pressure on him, in fact. And Norris overtakes him as we speak, side by side into turn number 4. I think Magnussen's going to fight this one. There's 5 seconds back to Pierre Gasly. And he's right on the tail of Lando Norris. We'll see how that battle evolves. Norris up into 7th, Magnussen in 8th. Yeah, so currently in the lead of this race, we've got George Russell 4 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. So it's going to be it's pretty unlikely that Sainz will be able to catch up to him. But George Russell, you never know he's going to do. He might just end up crashing at turn number 4. I mean, that's pretty unlikely, but yeah. All right. Let's see what else is going on the circuit. Hamilton will be probably too far away to actually catch up to Sainz before both Sainz and Hamilton overtook Verstappen. The battle was very much on between the Ferrari and the Mercedes driver, but Sainz is a little bit too far up the road for Hamilton to catch up. I think with only now 4 laps remaining of this race, we'll have to wait and see. Also, Magnussen drops out of the DRS range of Lando Norris, unfortunately, 1.2 seconds behind Lando Norris, so he's unable to stay within DRS range, and that puts him very much at risk being overtaken from Seb Vettel. Vettel now up into 9th place. I think he started all the way down in 15th, so great progress from Seb Vettel all the way up, 6 positions up from his starting position. And next in his sights is K-Mag, but he's 4 seconds up the road, pretty unlikely. Yeah, we got George Russell, though, leading the way on lap number 20 of 24 on this sprint race here in Sao Paulo. Yeah. All right. What else is going on the circuit? Not really much. I mean, Vettel overtook Gasly, and Gasly has pretty much just fell right behind him. Vettel still got a lot of pace to go now. I think he must have been conserving his tires a bit, charging up a bit of battery as well, because we've got 3 laps left. Might as well just go full attack. Also, guys, we're now 127 subscribers away from the new subscriber goal that I just set. I mean, there are 3 laps after the race. If you haven't subscribed, also I am commentating for tomorrow's race. So yeah, if you're enjoying the commentary, be sure to tune in tomorrow. I start streaming like 30 minutes before the start of the race, 30 or 25 minutes, depending on like depending on the situation. But when today's streams end, it will take you to tomorrow's stream. So yeah, don't worry about that. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, pretty exciting. Tomorrow's race. All right, so we've got 3 laps remaining now, and we have George Russell in the lead of this race. Carlos Sainz following him through. Hamilton in third. I mean, Hamilton, Perez, and Leclerc, very good progress. They started, I think, in 8th, 9th, and 10th. So they've moved up from their respective positions up into 3rd, 5th, and 6th. So making up quite a lot of places in this race. And yeah, it's looking good for them. The top 6 now, the top 6 of like the usual top 6 of Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. And we've got Lando Norris nipping at the heels of the top 3, top 6 teams, top 3 teams, top 6 drivers. Sorry. Yeah, who's got the fastest lap? That is George Russell. If you just look at whoever has the purple thing next to their number, their position number, that's the driver who has fastest lap. But it is a sprint race, so nobody actually gets awarded the fastest lap point. It's just the 8 points for winning the race, 7 points for second place, etc., etc. Sonoda overtakes Esteban Ocon going through into 16th. I mean, look at this. Ocon and Alonso down into 17th and 18th. They were so good yesterday in qualifying, and their pace has just dropped off in this race. Thing is, though, now they're starting in 17th and 18th. They have quite a lot of data, especially their race data. So what they can do, because I mean the difference between starting in 17th and 18th and starting from the pit lane is pretty small. So maybe it might be a viable strategy for Alpine for both cars, just go into break park firmware rules, start from the pit lane tomorrow, and then get a perfect setup for tomorrow's race. We'll have to wait and see. Also, I just want to point out, Fernando Alonso did an extra pit stop and has now overtaken Esteban Ocon. So yeah, Esteban Ocon not having a great weekend. Fernando Alonso's pace has been good, but of course he had that incident with his own teammate. He had an incident with Esteban Ocon, which caused him to be so low down. So yeah, inter-team rivalry boiling over between the two Alpine drivers now. But yeah, Alonso leaving, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue for the rest of the season and future seasons to come. And yeah. All right. I've got nearly 9,000 people watching. That's absolutely ridiculous. If you're going to hit 1,000 likes, that would be crazy. But yeah, everyone that has tuned in, very much do appreciate it. And yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the 50K. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. I don't know exactly what to say. I'm probably going to make a video for it. But yeah, here we are now on the penultimate lap of the race, and we have George Russell now coming through sector number 3, potentially even lapping Nicolas Latifi here. I mean, look at this. Nicolas Latifi about to be lapped in a sprint race. That is, I mean, go Tifi, of course. Mr. Consistent, always in last position. This is like, yeah, I mean, what else can I really say? But George Russell now on the back of Nicolas Latifi, lap number 24 of 24, on the final lap of the race. George Russell now making his way through turn number 1. Very much got Nicolas Latifi in his sights. We'll wait and see what he can do. Also, Hamilton within DRS range of Carlos Sainz. This could be a drag race to the finish line. We saw this in 2019 between Pierre Gasly and Lewis Hamilton. We could see it again now between Carlos Sainz and Hamilton coming out. This is on the last lap now. The gap between the two drivers is half a second, and we could definitely see a little bit of a tussle going into the final corner. So, yeah. All right, then. So, there we are. Oh, what's happened there? Wait, has the race finished and have I miscounted the number of laps? No, wait, what? The race has finished, guys. I have done something wrong. I don't know what I did. I must have miscounted the laps or something. But yeah, here we are. And the race has finished. That's a bit anticlimactic. But yeah, so that's happened. I don't know why that happened. It always happens on sprint races as well. the race always finishes one lap early. It's strange. It's strange. This data, basically the data was made in like 2009 and it's been updated ever since, but it was never made for sprint races. So yeah, it tends to glitch out on sprint races, but nevertheless. So George Russell ends up winning the sprint race in Sao Paulo. Will be starting on pole position tomorrow. He does not get the pole position award, but nevertheless he will be starting in first place on the grid. Carlos Sainz ends up in second place, but he's got a 5-place grid penalty, so he's going to be starting in 7th for tomorrow's race. And then we have Lewis Hamilton, who will be starting in 2nd. So we have a front row Mercedes grid. Front row Mercedes, that is ridiculous. And then looking at this, we're going to have Sainz starting in 7th, Leclerc starting in 6th. So that 40-point gap between Mercedes and Ferrari, that could actually evaporate very, very quickly. Also, the other thing, Lewis Hamilton could go on to score his first win of the season. Of course, he's got to keep that streak going. He's got 15 consecutive seasons with a race win. That's matching Michael Schumacher. And if he wins this season, then he will break that record. But Lewis Hamilton, he has a chance. Now, this is probably his best shot at Abu Dhabi. We don't know how quick the Mercedes car is going to be. But yeah. All right. This wouldn't count as George's first win. This would be like, it doesn't count really as a win. But yeah, we got 7,500 people watching. Everyone that's tuned in, very much do appreciate all your support. I will be streaming for tomorrow's race. So when this stream ends, it will take you over to tomorrow's stream. So remember to hit the reminder button so you get a notification for when it's about to start. And yeah, you don't miss the commentary. What else really is there to say? What an exciting race. K-Mag ends up in 8th position, so scores 1 point. He started in first, of course, dropped down a lot of positions, but nevertheless, ended up in 8th, and that's 1 point for him, and still quite a lot higher up than he would have been, say, if like normal qualifying would have happened. He probably would have been eliminated in Q2. So yeah, good job there from K-Mag. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. I very much do appreciate you, and it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Have a nice morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you tomorrow for the actual race. Yeah. Cheers, fellas. Oh yeah, also just hit the like button for tomorrow's stream, because it basically just, I don't know why, but the YouTube algorithm just like really likes it for some reason if you like the stream before it's even started. And yeah, hit the reminder button as well, because yeah, you don't want to miss it. So yeah, have a nice morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world, and I will see you tomorrow. Cheers, fellas.